Bitcoin is pumping, Pepe is pumping, but there's millions of XRP missing. This is Around the Blockchain. Thank you for joining, everybody. The markets are green, so make sure you go ahead and hit that like button. Show your appreciation for the Green Candle Days. We got some great guests on the show today, including Tim Warren from Investor Bros. There's two of you on today. Tim, how do you feel? Do you feel like you're in your home court?
Listen, DZ, it's been a long time coming, but Investing Bros are here to take over. We got a 50% chance of winning today, so I'm feeling pretty good. Pretty good. Love being on here with T. Shroom. We're gonna rock some knowledge tonight.
All right, I'm going to start you at 1 point, and as well as T. Shroom as well. All right, also on, we have Piano Matty B coming live from the asylum. Piano Matty B, I can't wait to see what the TA has done for you, and I bet you got some attractive targets, but you know what? They're starting with one, you're starting with two. How are you doing today, by the way?
Fantastic. It's plus 30 degrees Celsius up here in Canada. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's super hot here for a change.
Some nerd, we need a D&G in the chat to let us know what is 30 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit for those stupid imperialistic measures. Also on today, we have T. Shroom, the other half of Investor Bros. How do you like your odds of an Investor Bro victory?
Hey, I like them, man. We got Bitcoin up above 30K again today, so it's going to be a sunshiny day here down in Florida, and it's going to be a big dub for the Investing Bros. We're going to take it home.
All right, true to my word, you both start with 1 point. And last but not least, I believe first time on the show, we have Action CEO. Now, Action, you're going to start with 3 because it's your first time. How are you doing? Where can they find your content?
I appreciate the handicap there. I don't know if I'm going to need it. As long as they don't add up those 2 points, I think we'll be okay. But you can check me out at Action Crypto here on YouTube or on Twitter. I'm Action_CEO.
All right, the confidence gave you a 4th point there. All right, well, let's talk about the markets are pumping now. Piano Matty B, you help us out with a little TA. I'm looking at Bitcoin's price right now. Right now, it looks like we're coming in right under $30,000, $29,953. We're flirting with above 30. We went above it a couple times. It's been a very, very bullish last 7 days. Now, what are the charts telling you? I mean, can you give us any insight here from the asylum?
Yeah, well, it's been an epic pump ripping through one old channel of eternal monotony after another. We've even popped out of the greed side of this one, peaking out at 30.8-ish. Now, as much as I'd like to go up forever and zoomed out, that's exactly what Bitcoin has done. But a healthy retracement is part of every pump. Now, when we finally do cool off, which we may have already, our first support test would be the 23.6% fib at 29.7, which is at this channel's resistance now acting as support. Right in the middle of the channel is a 38.2% fib at 29K. And then the channel support is at the 50% fib, 28.5. And we all know that price action loves the goldenest of golden pockets, the Siggity 1.8% fib, which is down at 28K. Now we could see more upside due to short liquidations, of course. But when we do cool off, we'll likely tap these fibs, and a quick look at the weekly sees our moonroof blast-off point of this cute little coupon handle. It's at 30.7, which we already did get rejected from. So if, and I say if, we manage to break that level, this coupon handle plays out to 44K.
All right, and it's the slow unfading of Bruce Banner's cousin, Gary Banner. Always kills me. Good stuff, great stuff there, Piano Matty B. Well, Tim, that's on one level. We're looking at the TA there, but it's also just been a bullish week as far as news. We have, we have TradFi pouring in. We have the EDX exchange launched just yesterday. We have the ETF applications, and we have Deutsche Bank. They just filed for a crypto custody license, another top 10 bank there. So what do you think is the main cause of this pump? Is this a narrative-driven pump, or is this a TA-driven pump to you? Oh, you're muted. No narrative at all.
Uh-oh.
Nope. Uh-oh. You were good. We heard you earlier. Oh, no. We're going to have to pass it to the T. Shroom, man. All right. Wait. Right. Tim, I think you got it.
Am I fixed?
Yeah, man. I don't know what you did. It was the punch. It was you had to hit it like an analog television.
freaking just rock this thing. It gives me troubles, like literally every single
Look,
day.
you moved to
We're gonna
Paulding
get a new
County doesn't
microphone.
mean you can act like a. Oh, no, you just meant the microphone. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah,
So
yeah. All right.
back to the question: is this narrative driven, or is this hey, the TA was oversold? I mean, what's your opinion here?
Well, I think the proper response at this point is it's been so bullish it kept me speechless there for a moment. But in reality, DZ, the real reason that we are pumping right now, and no one's saying his name over the last couple of hours, and it's Gary Gensler. Gary Gensler is the reason that Bitcoin is pumping right now, because just look at all the things that have happened over the last couple of weeks, over the last couple of months. It is all coming to a point, and it's not even finished yet. Just wait. We saw some things, not that I watched the entire thing, but I've heard some tidbits from remarks made by Jerome Powell today, kind of leading towards CBDCs. And this is what they wanted the whole time. They wanted to get it down to a very simple Bitcoin and stable coins, and they wanted to be CBDCs run by banks. But all the suppression that has been happening, all the lawsuits made by the SEC and Gary Gensler to suppress altcoins and to prepare the way for the likes of BlackRock, for Citadel, for Fidelity, for other banks to get in and be able to offer Bitcoin to their thousands, if not millions of, it really is millions. I don't know why I even said thousands, millions of customers, but have full control of it. This has been the plot the entire time, and we're starting to see it play out. Now, if you're a Bitcoin holder or a Bitcoin maximalist, you're loving what you're seeing. If you're a fan of decentralization and freedom of cryptocurrency, this is a very alarming thing, and it's not over yet. It's still coming. The good news is that I still believe that Bitcoin is so powerful in and of itself, like a Trojan horse. All these manipulators and people who want to control finance, they're going to get sucked in by Bitcoin and say, all right, it's an unstoppable force. We have to use it. Let's see if we can manipulate it. But the more you manipulate it, the more centralized Bitcoin becomes, the less powerful it becomes. And the more decentralized it becomes, the more value it has. So even though I think that there's a plot right now to try to control Bitcoin, I think it's going to fail in the end, but it's not a good win for altcoins. I know we're going to talk about that later on in the show. It's not a win for altcoins. This is the things that Gary Gensler has had in his mind for a very long time. Unfortunately, we're a whole year delayed because his plans with Sam Bankman-Fried fell apart, and now he's getting his new patsies. He's getting everything lined up just like the way he wants it. And this is what's happening right now. This is Bitcoin's taking off because of Gary Gensler.
Clearly the real reason he's turning into the Incredible Hulk. I think we've got him so upset. The SBF drama is just, it's gone to the point. He's lost his cool. All right. Well, Action CEO, he brought up a good point there. There's a plot. We always hear about this plot from the big institutions. You ask someone with the tinfoil hat on, they're like, yeah, they suppressed the price so they could come in and they could scoop it real cheap. Well, I kind of want to ask you about your opinion of that. We have BlackRock, Fidelity, Deutsche Bank, all these big institutions do have a Bitcoin product on the horizon. Do you think there is a secret plot where they try to accumulate it in a FUD storm? And if that's true, do you think the price rose faster than BlackRock expected? Have they accumulated enough of this Bitcoin?
I don't think that anybody has ever accumulated enough, but what it boils down to that I don't think they dropped it enough. That's really the key here. They try their hardest to dump the price of Bitcoin as much as they possibly could before applying for the CTF. And for everyone that doesn't realize this, they've applied for 575, applications with the SEC before, and they only been rejected once. So when you see everyone coming into play and just saying, yeah, we're going to apply for one as well, is because they know once BlackRock is in, everybody else has to get in. There's no way that they can suppress all of these applications now because the big guys are now at play. So did it, rise faster than they anticipated? I don't think so. I think that it just didn't fall fast as they anticipated because this is like, Tim was saying, plan B. It's not plan A. They wanted the, Bitcoin to drop down to the 14 level is what I believe. And it just never made it there because of people with self-custody and everything else that we talk about. And I believe all of our channels, all our social media platforms, it's about holding your Bitcoin, actually owning it and not leaving it to decentralized exchanges. So did it fall, rise faster than it should have? Not really. I think we still have ways to go as far as creeping up. We still got a week left in this month, and it's definitely going to be green candles.
All right. And, speaking of these green candles, I pulled up Bitcoin for the last 12 months, Shroom. I'm looking at this chart. Besides that brief little pump we had in April, this is the highest it has been for the entire year. Where does Bitcoin go from here? I've asked a lot of people around 25K. What do we see next? Do we see 20K first? Do we see 30K first? Well, we saw 30K first. So we're at 30. Shroom, where are we going from here? Are we seeing 20K first or 40K first? Please explain.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that the lows are behind us, guys. I really do. Tim laid out a really good narrative from a fundamental standpoint of how the banks have kind of been looking for, a move lower. And I think that they've missed their opportunity and to buy really, really low. I think from here, we're just going to see a movement higher. I think now, the institutional money is kind of green lighting. You're kind of seeing that around just kind of thumbs up around 360 saying, okay, from here, we're kind of moving higher. I've been saying for months, since the beginning of the year at least, that I think we're going to close out the year around 50,000 on Bitcoin. That's where I think the ultimate answer here to your question is, DZ. But why do we get there? And I think that, again, Tim's argument with the fundamentals is very compelling. I think BlackRock going ahead and serving up its application to, there he is right there, the handsome bearded wonder, Tim Warren. I think with BlackRock serving up their application for a spot Bitcoin ETF, I think that kind of is the biggest green light in the room saying, hey, from here on out, it's going to be greener pastures for Bitcoin. Go ahead and get on the train. We've absolutely seen that reflected in the price. Obviously, we saw a huge move up in the last 24 hours. And not only that, we also saw GBTC over at Grayscale starting to close in on that discount to the NAV, which is very, very reflective of real, actual confidence from institutional investors. So I think from here, you're just going to see a movement up. Obviously, you'll have retests at these various levels. If you want to keep track with the levels, definitely watch, BitBoy and turn in also to Investing Bros, where we track the levels pretty intently with folks like Army Piper, who was on Monday, and your boy who's also on here, Tim. Not that he's going to win this. Obviously, it's going to go to me. But when you're taking a look at those levels, I think from here, we're definitely going to hit 40 before we hit 20. If it goes back down to 20 and I'm wrong, I'll be happy because I'll be buying more, baby. But I think from here on out, there's really not a whole lot more structurally that could happen that would paint a bearish narrative. I think take a look, guys. Look at the legal landscape, right? Not only is Binance being sued by the SEC, they're also being sued by the CFTC, what was supposed to be the good guy regulators, right? So Coinbase obviously under a lawsuit, and name an exchange that isn't under a lawsuit by the SEC for one reason or another. I think that the crypto space, exchanges included, are just so battered and bruised, and yet they keep pressing forward, and crypto assets keep going higher and higher and leaving those lows behind. So I think from here, it's greener pastures. Does that mean to FUD in or to FOMO into the market? It doesn't. No, it means keep a level head, but have a bullish bias and continue to invest in projects that you very much believe in. We're going to be getting into alts a little bit later here in the show. I'm excited to talk about that. But for here, I'll take my 11 points and I'll zip my lips.
Keep a level head, keep a smooth head if able. But yeah, let's talk about the altcoins. We said we're going to talk about altcoins. Well, I just pulled up of the top 100 coins. The top two gainers have made some serious moves, folks. Pepe and Bitcoin Cash. Pepe is up 40%. Bitcoin Cash, it was around 25%, almost 30% at one point. Huge skyrocketing. Bitcoin Cash, there is a little narrative here that we talked about the Citadel exchange earlier in the show. Well, there's only 4 cryptos being traded on that exchange: Bitcoin, Ether, Bitcoin Cash, and then Litecoin as well. And then I think, we'll look into why Pepe's pumping. I think I might have an idea, but I kind of want to talk about Bitcoin Cash first. Now, Piano Matty B, I know you did a little TA, but I mean, I'm assuming this just pumped because of Bitcoin. What is going on with Bitcoin Cash? Did that exchange, was that single-handedly the reason we're up 25%?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I would never think that would happen because of that listing on the exchange. So it seems like a little bit of an anomaly, much like Pepe. Like, what are you going to do? Go chart Pepe? Oh, like here, it broke resistance and it had a 100x exponential gain. You can't really, you look back at it, it's just an anomaly. So when it comes to Bitcoin Cash, I don't even, well, it's like Litecoin too. It's, when I hear the two, and I don't want to get any hate from the Litecoin aficionados, but whenever like they're included in the gang, I'm like, really? They included Litecoin again? It's pretty amazing. Like they never say die for Litecoin.
All right. Well, it's something about it. It keeps on ticking on, keeps on ticking on. I don't know what's going on here, but we're looking at now. Tim, you keep bringing up the Bitcoin. Hey, is it Bitcoin's time to shine? Is it the alt's time to shine? What are your thoughts about Bitcoin dominance? With all these alts dwarfing Bitcoin's pump here. I mean, does that make you think maybe dominance is lowering?
Well, I mean, I think that's a strong sentence you just used there. Dwarfing Bitcoin shine. I mean, you got to dig really deep into the altcoins that are outshining Bitcoin right now. You just pulled up Pepe and you pulled up Bitcoin Cash. First of all, I don't even really have to go into details as to why Bitcoin Cash will never touch Bitcoin whatsoever. When it comes to Pepe,
I've actually just learned why Pepe has pumped. We have breaking news, everybody. This is breaking news. We know why Pepe is pumped. Are you ready for this, Tim? This is alpha.
I'm ready.
Why is Pepe pumping? This is Borovic.eth. Just shared this real quick. Why is Pepe pumping? Greg answered it. More people are buying than selling, Tim.
Yes.
That's it.
That's true. It's true.
I never would have guessed that.
Thoughts rebuttal.
Greg is rarely wrong. Greg is rarely wrong. You guys definitely should follow him if you want some accurate information, because he gets things right very frequently. Here's the thing, DZ. I think people need to stop saying with such authority that certain things are dead. That's what we've heard a lot about Pepe here over the last couple of weeks is, oh, Pepe's dead. Oh, Pepe's dead. Pepe's dead. Not that I think Pepe necessarily is going to have new all-time highs anytime soon, but anytime you hear a sect of people calling a coin dead, you're going to have your other sect, the cult-like followers who are like, oh, you want to bet? And they just swoop in and they go buy some because those prices are ridiculously low. I mean, Pepe was sitting super low, but even that, like I'm saying, like you got to reach really, really low down to Pepe to say that altcoins are outperforming Bitcoin. What's very interesting to watch here as we talk about Bitcoin dominance, DZ, is the fact that Bitcoin dominance right now, making some threatening moves. Right now, it's at 51.42% if you're looking on TradingView, BTC.D. But it was threatening 52 during a period where Bitcoin is going to the upside. Why is that significant? Because traditionally, Bitcoin dominance grows in bear markets when Bitcoin is dropping in price, right? So I said here a little bit ago, first of all, shout out to Ben Cohen, who's very, very open and honest. He talks about Bitcoin dominance rising all the time, right? He's kind of become the known thing on Twitter talking about Bitcoin dominance. We've been talking about it too. Bitcoin dominance moving to the upside. We've been talking about on Investing Bros for months now. Now I'm raising my levels though, whereas I thought before we're more than likely making a push towards 55. I want to see when this ends. I want to see when the Bitcoin rally kind of peaks and we keel back over before the real bull market rally starts. I want to see where we are. But looking right now at Bitcoin rising and the dominance rising at the same time, that to me, guys, that is part of my confirmation for saying that I don't think we're in a bull market. What's going to happen is eventually Bitcoin's going to stop rising and altcoins are going to stop rising, and both are going to move back down to the downside. Bitcoin back to former resistance levels turned into support, and certain altcoins down to new lows for the year. And what's going to happen to Bitcoin dominance? It's going to continue to climb. Here this last week, it was kind of ridiculous. I think it's a little high, but what's his name? Why am I blanking on his name? Gosh,
it was you.
No, not me. There was a prediction. So say the name. I don't know. This is silly that I'm blanking on his name. I'm going to say this, and people are going to say his name immediately. There was a prediction for an 80% dominance on Bitcoin coming very, very soon. Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor
Jim
was
Cramer?
the one who predicted 80%. Not Jim Cramer. Thank you, BJ. 80% was the prediction. That is too high, DZ. That 80% is way freaking too high. But I think there's an outside chance that during this rally itself, Bitcoin makes it to 55%. And then when everything else starts to bleed, Bitcoin included, it comes back down to the 30K level, maybe even back down to 25 once again. I think there's an outside chance that we rematch the highs we had back in 2021, January of 2021, when Bitcoin dominance hit 73%. That still is high to me, but do not be surprised to see an over 60% pushing towards that 73% high on Bitcoin. And it's because of what I just said in the last segment about Gary Gensler and the plan to get rid of these altcoins, to limit down the threat. Like, they realize that their ability to go after Bitcoin is very diminished. They've kind of given up for more now. They're going to reattack it later. But at least if they can kill all of the decentralized altcoins right now, and they can get this down to a 2-horse race, stable coins or CBDCs versus Bitcoin, they're going to think about something later to get rid of Bitcoin. They are going to do everything within their power to get Bitcoin to have
I'm
the
glad
most
you're bringing up
possible.
they're killing some alts. Now I'm gonna switch gears here a little bit. Now Shroom, he's talking about, we got alts under fire. Well, there was a class of alts that, got a little bit of a regulatory scrutiny. I'm going to pull up the charts here real quick. This is off CoinGecko. Cardano was one of them. Solana was one of them. Polygon was one of them. There's a few others as well. We're talking about there's a FUD storm. We have people trying to suppress the price of Bitcoin. Meanwhile, they accumulate a whole lot and then they offer Bitcoin products. Do you think that there's any kind of validity to maybe a same strategy being applied to Cardano, Solana, Polygon, some of the coins, maybe under 5 years old or around 5 years old? All this regulatory scrutiny, is it to maybe suppress the price because, do we see a green light from the SEC in the near future?
It's interesting. I mean, we talk about, the banks trying to put pressure on Bitcoin to be able to get in at a lower price. Who's to say that they're not doing the exact same thing here with Matic and ADA and some of the other coins that are subject now to this new wave of regulatory clarity? You'd call it scrutiny. I think that there's a case to be made that they're doing just that, especially in the case I would make for Matic and Cardano, some very high utility coins that have shown that not only retail really likes them, but also institutions like them. So I'd say, yes, I'd say that there is an argument to be made that these coins, while right now they're definitely punched, they're knocked out maybe on the floor, doesn't mean that they're not going to get back up swinging and even come out with a W in the fight. And I, it's hard not to put your chips on someone like Charles Hoskinson behind Cardano, who's worked so hard and has clearly won the hearts and minds of the retail space, but has also curried the favor of many an institution as well. So I don't see these names going anywhere. I know that my beloved Robinhood delisted is going to be delisting them very, very soon, which is unfortunate. But it just kind of goes to show me is like we've seen time and time again, projects get knocked down and they just get right back up. And I think that the SEC is becoming less and less of a respected institution. And it's only a matter of time before, when the SEC institutes, some kind of regulatory scrutiny, that especially the crypto space kind of shrugs it off and just keeps on with business as usual. And DApp developers continue on building what they were building. And, eventually, once there is true regulatory clarity around the world, not just in the US, then these projects will emerge that they were extremely valuable all the time. And as of June 21st, 2023, they were extremely undervalued, right? Doesn't mean to FOMO into them. Shroom is not telling you to FOMO into these projects, right? But just saying that in the future, when you take a look back, you're going to say, wow, I can't believe that oh, hearing some echo.
Yeah.
I can't believe that I actually totally believed what the media was telling me when obviously it was just being pumped by those who wanted to get in at a lower level. So, Matic and
I
Cardano
think you said it best.
bring real
I
value.
didn't know that was going to come in so loud. I apologize. But
No worries.
we get knocked down, not going to knock us, get up again. Something like that. And then, of course, it goes quickly into the pissing the night away. Fun fact, me and Carl Doverstein had an argument. This is pre-internet on what they said. He said, no, they're wishing the night away. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they say pissing. He's like, there's no way they'd put that on the radio. You were wrong, Carl. I'm talking to you in your grave. All right, Action CEO, you've never been on the show before, so I'm going to check the temperature on how you feel about some altcoins. What alts are you looking at leading up into this next bull run? And don't you dare say Pepe. Don't you dare say Bitcoin Cash. What are some other ones that could, if there is a strong pumping narrative, you expect to outperform Bitcoin?
Well, there's nothing wrong with Pepe as long as you're selling it right now. So
okay. I was
gonna
about
put that
to
out there.
subtract points. About to subtract.
I mean that's what meme coins are all about. Make sure you get in early and you get out early too before anything else comes crashing down. But when you're looking at, I would say, short term here, while Bitcoin is picking up, you got to pay attention to coins that are actually doing something. I'm a huge proof of work guy. it's got to do something. It's got to be securing the network, right? Like a perfect example is Cadena. They've been around since 2016, and they did it right where they were, I don't want to say in cahoots. I need to make sure I watch my language here. They were working together with regulators, and it's people who were regulators in the past that actually put this thing together. People coming from Chase Bank, for example, they know how to set things up. And now that everything is getting regulated, it's going to be their time to shine. And you also want to make sure things that do stuff, not just securing the blockchain, like proof of work blockchain Cadena, but you take a look at Flux. Like you saw Render was a top 4 gainer. Render is a great technology, but it's not decentralized at all. It only, computes one specific thing. And then you look at, different projects that can actually do good out there and allow everybody, like even myself with my crazy electricity costs here in California, to earn, passive income. And again, FOMO into the research, not into what I'm telling you guys. You can actually get tokens from a lot of different projects if you're putting your unused hardware to work. And that's what I love to see is when people come together and say, you know what, we need to find a way to allow everyday users to benefit from something. And in the case of Flux, they started out by providing, you can host your website on them right now, but you're going to be able to also now buy a GPU from them and put that to even more work and earn even more tokens. So I'm always looking at what can actually create value, not just take it away from the market. What can you build with? So likes of Cadena, it's a cool blockchain. But,
let me throw 2 names when I think of like they actually have a product. First one, Chainlink. What do you feel about Chainlink?
I think Chainlink is all right. Let's go thumbs up.
Second coin that might have a viable business strategy, Filecoin, because that it doesn't actually you don't need a equal distribution geography.
Philcoin, you're pronouncing it incorrectly. I don't think you've been watching the show. It's Philcoin.
Okay, Philcoin.
Yeah.
Got him.
Down. Okay.
Now, down. And here's the reason. There's way too much storage and people are not getting paid for their storage the right way. They try to grow too big and make it sound like it was this, wonderful endeavor. And when you really go look at it, it's like, wait, how much storage are you actually using? What percentage of the network is actually being put to good use? Not much. So users are getting, cheated.
Okay, that was
in a
good.
sense.
Nice. Not Gemini, Genesis reference there. All right, let's move on to XRPs. Piano Matty B, he liked that little reference there. First, Piano, before we get into the topic here, what are your thoughts on Phil Collins?
He's one of my favorite drummer singers, but let me get one thing straight.
Yes.
Drummers should not be singers. I'll let Phil Collins go because he was such a great singer. I'll let Dave Grohl go because, he was a great drummer, but he's more of a singer, guitar player, lead man now. But my blanket rule, drummers, get behind the kit.
Now, when that Phil Collins breakdown happened, do, can you avoid doing air drums?
No, actually, we do that in our live piano bar, and every time the other guy's playing piano, I don't really know when it is, and I'm always chomping at the bit, waiting for that part to get in. It's the best part of the song. You just end it after that.
I would have given you 10 points if you could have avoided. Well, I'm going to stick with you, Piano Matty B. Let's talk about this XRP atomic wallet hack. There's a lot of missing XRP. Well, there's some chain sleuths called Explorer. Looks like they've discovered it is 20 million total. But 2 million started hitting exchanges, Huobi, OKX, KuCoin, Binance. I think there's one more, Whitebit exchange as well. Well, here's the kicker, Piano Matty B. They've only accounted for 2 of the 20 million missing XRP. Guys, there's 18 million missing XRP held by these hackers, these thieves, and they might try to dump on top of you. Now, Piano Matty B, this is, obviously we're not looking at Binance's order book, so we don't know for sure. But do you think there'd be an outsized impact if all 18 million XRP hit the market at once? I mean, would you expect some sort of serious dump? Or is there enough volume to absorb the 18 million being sold?
Well, first, I didn't know there were blockchain gumshoes on the case looking into all these things, but apparently this makes me feel better about the whole
they sit in a black and white office, smoking a cigarette, waiting for a dame like you've never seen to enter the building.
Well, the thing is, it's like you got to ask yourself, did they recover all the coins from Celsius? Did you recover all the coins from FTX? Listen, the reason why it's called the risk curve is because it's a risk. So every time you go out, and when I'm saying risk, I mean a hot wallet. If it's not on a cold cold wallet. I don't know why people are surprised when things go awry. It's like a tale as old as history itself. I had this great hot wallet, and it crossed a bridge, and some crypto trolls came and grabbed it. And now all my coins are gone. So I mean, it's like I say this all the time: get them off the exchange. If they're on the exchange, hot wallet, it's a ticking time bomb for them to get stolen in some sort of way.
Well, all they had to do is answer the trolls' riddle, and under the bridge.
Yes. Well, I guess they got the answer wrong, and they're all gone now, DZ. So where do you go from here? Like, I mean, do people that have their coins on Celsius or FTX, are they just going to wait for 10 years and then finally get an email if email's still around in 10 years? Yeah, we got your so-and-so coin. We'll airdrop it to you. I think when things like this happen, you just kind of have to accept that you got to pay the dummy tax for not putting it on cold storage.
Ooh, the dummy tax. He went out there and he said it. All right, well, Action CEO, again, just another coin. It's a fairly polarizing coin. So, I'm just going to take this opportunity to get to know Action CEO. So, Action, what are your thoughts on XRP? Give me your XRP thesis, and will it hit $589?
Sure. Maybe tomorrow, but is it really going to do anything? That's really what it boils down to. Like, can we do anything with XRP? I like XRP. I like what it's doing for the market. I mean, honestly, the biggest thing that it does for all of us was, hey, let me give the middle finger to the SEC and fight you guys in court. Like, that has been like that. That's why I support them. Honestly, it's because they didn't back down. They didn't take the plea deal, and they didn't say, you know what, we're just going to walk away, pay a fine, and say everything's okay. So those are the people that the SEC can't control. It's the people that can't be manipulated by big money because they want to see things done right, and they're not just going to fold when pressure gets too heavy with them. So when people are saying, "Oh, XRP is just another scam coin," they're just trying to raise money. So what? In my book, I'm looking at it. So what? And when it comes to funds, guys, like if you got to realize that 18 million tokens that are unaccounted for, that's like 3.5% of the circulating supply right now. Like, it's not that much. So when you're talking about a dummy tax, I totally understand. Sometimes you kind of need that dummy tax. I mean, right now I'm still waiting for the email from Mt. Gox letting me know that my money's coming in. I will be buying this entire channel when that happens, which I think is going to happen never. But it is that dummy tax. It applies. So be safe with your crypto. I mean, that's the one thing that I can't stress enough. Know what you're getting yourself into, because it's wild out there. And if there's an opportunity for anybody to take advantage of somebody else in this space, it's happening. People are doing it, and there's nothing we can do about it.
All right.
There we go.
All right. Great stuff there. Great stuff there. My favorite dummy tax. My favorite dummy tax. Hey, Matty won. Coincidence. Favorite dummy tax is the missing Bitcoin, just from people not understanding what they had. Estimates 3, 4, 5 million, meaning not 21 million Bitcoin, really like 16, 17, 18 million. So best dummy tax.
I got some of those too.
Thank you for losing millions of Bitcoin. You too, Luke Stavely. He lost several buying drugs off Silk Road. Sorry, Luke. Sorry. Didn't have to say your last name, did I? All right. Well, moving on here. Now, Tim, Luke, I apologize to your mother, Lynn. Lynn, I'm sorry. All right. Now, Tim here. I want to ask about these missing tokens, because we've seen this happen before. We've seen it happen with ETH. That's why we have ETH Classic. There's all those stolen Ether. What do you feel about a protocol being able to freeze funds? Tether can do it. USDC can do it. Is it a good thing if Ripple were to freeze the 20 million XRP?
Before I answer that question, DZ, are the points right now? I have 15. Are those my points, or do you own the points? Are these points decentralized? Like, are they in a cold wallet under my name, or are you the centralized exchange and you control them?
See, we are all within the matrix right now. And so that is the body heat of billions of human beings are fueling your points. So it just depends. Do you know Kung Fu?
If they're my points, I can do whatever I want with them, right?
Yes.
Can I donate my points to Shroom for an investing bros win?
I will let BJ have the final call after I say the super chat by Hawk Crypto Mining. Best show, LFG, Bitcoin 30K. Thank you, Hawk Mining. BJ, what do you say?
The answer's there.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
He actually typed it
this just goes and says, Listen, guys, this means BJ is in fact Gary Gensler. These points were securities. We never actually had any of these points. So it just shows you the deeper behind the scenes of what's happening on the show. But back to your question, DZ.
Should Ripple be able to freeze XRP?
Yes. No, the answer is no. But here's I saw here wrestling with this in my brain. First of all, I want to shout out what Matty B said on a serious note. Guys, crypto is the Wild West. Guess what the Wild West comes with? On one hand, it comes with freedom. You are free to go out and pursue what you want to pursue. Part of America is you have the right to pursue happiness. You don't have the right to happiness. You have the right to pursue it. Well, guess what happens in the Wild West along with freedom? There's bank robbers. There's crime. There's things that happen. If you put all your money in a bank and a bank robber comes and steals all the money, your money is gone. You were free to put it in the bank. You were free to take it out. You're free to do whatever you want. But crime comes with freedom. We traded freedom of our currency and our value for the sake of having more security, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're the person who values security and you're willing to give up your freedom, why even get into crypto? Just keep your value in banks. Although that's, banks suck. But you get what I'm trying to say here. If you are in crypto because of freedom, you got to understand things like this happen. And Matty B's right on. If you want to protect your money, get them off of centralized exchanges. Get them out of hot wallets. Get them into cold wallets, because that is where your freedom will actually meet real security. And that's why crypto is so cool. But it's the Wild West. If it's on a centralized exchange, you might lose it. When it comes to this question of should we allow DAOs or should we allow exchanges or allow anything to confiscate, steal this money from individuals, here's the reason why the answer is no, DZ. And that is because it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I know logically right now, if all of us put here and we thought about morality and we thought about what was right versus what was wrong, I bet you every single one of us could agree that what would be right is for these hackers to have this money taken back from them and then return to the right people. But where does that take us down the road, DZ? If we start to allow for morality or for what we feel is right in that moment, or if we allow any type of person to make the decision, well, this is a bad case, so we're going to do something special and freeze this money and keep it secure. We are trading freedom for security. We are trading all of it. So it's one of those things. Right. It's like, hey, we've got to embrace the Wild West. You got to embrace the fact that with freedom comes risk, and all the more reason for people to be educated and to update their personal security. The answer is no. No one should ever have the ability to freeze your money no matter what.
Quick aside, Tim, what is your favorite Western?
Gosh, I don't know.
I'm going to give a wild card answer. Back to the Future 2. Does it count? Does that count? Sorry, Back to the Future 3. Back to the Future 3. Does Back to the Future 3 count as a Western? Let us know. I say yes. Okay, I'm going with it. Hey, when they got Michael J. Fox doing the moonwalk, that's a classic scene, man. Gotta love it. All right, T Shroom, I'm going to ask you a similar question, just maybe a different angle. So we're talking about, whether or not a protocol can freeze funds. Tether can do it. USDC can do it. Is a protocol more likely to be adopted and given favorable regulatory scrutiny if they do freeze funds? What do you feel about that?
That's an interesting question, DZ. I have to say that my mind has not graced that question, so this would be a pretty organic, off-the-dome answer. But I would say that more than likely, regulators would look more favorably upon a protocol that had the ability to freeze, right, and was highly trackable, which crypto already is, as we know. But I'd say that crypto should not necessarily comply with that. I think that what can happen is that there can be two systems, right? There can be a system like the gold system, right, that we're all very familiar with, where you purchase gold and you buy it physically, and nobody knows that you have it. There may not even be a bill of sale. Maybe you go out and mine it yourself, right? Where you can live, so to speak, off the grid, right? And that's something where you can pursue that to whatever length you want in the crypto space, and to some extent you can have value, you can store wealth without really anybody knowing, if that's what you really, really want. And if the world governments are going to start rolling out CBDCs, that'll be the other side of the range of freedom and privacy, where they'll know not only how much money you have, right, but they'll know exactly what you're spending it on, what you're planning on spending it on, and what you are going to spend it on for your kids, right? So there'll be no difference between what you are going to buy and what they know you're going to buy, right? So I think that there's always going to be a range. I think though that historically we've always seen a desire by humans to be private, to conceal their actions and conceal their wealth. Going all the way back to the Art of War with Sun Tzu, right? There's nothing new under the sun here, and as we move forward with an advancement in technology around currency and around communicating value of goods and services, I don't think that humanity is going to go in the opposite direction with their desires to use that technology. I think it's evident in technologies like Tornado Cash, right? That go to the extremes of privacy, right? I'm not someone who engages in that. I don't feel like I need to go to that extreme, right? But there are those that do in a legitimate way, and then there's those that don't, that do in an illegitimate way, right? And that's where it's the regulator's business. That's where I feel comfortable paying taxes for to empower regulators to go after those criminals and to their best abilities with under the law, under the line of the law, go ahead and pursue those criminals, right? That's the clear line of thinking philosophically between me restricting my freedom, parting with the wealth that I've earned, and going ahead and empowering an agency, a federal agency in this case, to go after those who we have all agreed through a democratic process are breaking the law. So I'd say ultimately, there's going to be cryptos for everything. And I think that right now there's the projects for anything. And I think right now, there's a possibility every 10 years, there's like a whole new wave. Every 10 years, every 3 years is a whole new wave of crypto projects. I think there could be major crypto projects that haven't even been created yet that are for specifically to kind of address some of these questions that you're asking for hyper transparency or hyper privacy without breaking kind of the social contract that we have with our governments.
I got to cut you off there, T. We're running a little long. You bring up a really good point there where, existing laws, I think that is the key. They want to spin up new laws and, make these things harder or, add a bunch of guardrails. There's already laws. There's laws for fraud. There's laws for theft. There's you're using it on Silk Road. There's already drug laws on the book. So really, really good point there, T-Shroom. Can we cut back to T-Shroom and me? T-Shroom, is that a epic handshake reference in the background? Is that the Arnold Carl Weathers handshake?
So what you see behind me is actually the logo for the Investing Bros, and the handshake you're seeing is exactly what you want it to be. It's a subjective logo, and the art is as much incorporating you, DZ, as a person, as an individual actor within this wonderful universe that we inhabit, as much as it is what the initial envision of the artist was.
All right. Well, yeah, I think of the 80s action flick Predator. That's where my mind goes. It is. That was good. I don't know who did that. Good stuff. Was that you, BJ? That was you. That was good. Hey, plus 25 points for BJ, but unfortunately, we got to give the victory to Piano Matty B. As much as I want to give it to BJ, I think there should be an asterisk next to Matty's score total. He did get 2 questions about Genesis and Phil Collins. Maybe pumped him up. But you know what, Matty? We're still going to give it to you. I think it's because you had me in the TA. But feel free. Leave us with some parting thoughts. I'd love to hear what you had to say.
Well, I know you're probably dying to know what my favorite Western is, DZ, and it's, of course, Tombstone with the handsome and charismatic Val Kilmer, obviously.
So good.
And I'm just going to make it quick here. Thanks for having me. I'm going to sing everyone out with a nice 80s commercial jingle about crypto and investing. We're playing the same game as our psychopathic elected elites. That's right, it's the long game. So zoom out and have a fantastic day. Roll them credits, DZ.
That's all we got. See you at high noon tomorrow with the morning stream. Make sure you hit that like button. DZ out. Make sure you follow all the channels. Action CEO's first time on. So please make sure you give his channel a follow. That's all we got. Until next time.